Hi everyone, I'm Yolanda, the founder of MedicineHow, and I'm so glad that you could join us today for the 7 Steps to a Healthier Heart workshop. This is the first time ever for me to run an online workshop, so I'm very excited but also a little bit nervous to get started, but hopefully everything's going to run smoothly and we'll be fine. Just in case it's your first time ever to attend an online workshop, let's take a quick look at what it's about and what we're going to do during the workshop. Really, this is just like any other workshop that you might attend in real life, in person. Basically, we're going to go through the content of the workshop. It's 7 steps to a healthier heart. So we're going to go through each of the 7 steps, which are Step 1, understanding, Step 2, application, Step 3, eating, Step 4, movement, Step 5, living, Step 6, habit, and Step 7, monitoring. So we're going to go through each of those steps and what they mean and how you can actually implement them to get your heart working more healthily. And when we get to the end, I've also got a quick section for some questions and comments. Seeing as this workshop isn't a live workshop, I actually sent out an email to my email list before it started with asking for some questions, and so I got quite a few replies from different people with questions, and so we'll go through the answers to those questions at the end of the workshop as well. So let's start off with really who this workshop is for. You're in the right place in this workshop today if you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. If your doctor's told you you're at high risk for heart disease, having a heart attack or a stroke, this is a really good place for you to start. Also, if you have a family history of any of these things, of high blood pressure, heart attack, heart disease, stroke, anything to do with the health of your heart, if you have a family history of that, like for example your parents, your grandparents had troubles with these things, it's likely that you could be affected as well. So it's important that you do pay attention to the health of your heart. And finally, you're also in the right place if you're worried about your heart and you want to do the best you can to protect it. If this sounds like you, I really think you are going to get a lot out of this workshop, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started into the first step. Okay, so the first step to a healthier heart is understanding. Most of us already know that our heart is central to how the body works, but do you really understand what it does? If you're serious about making change to your lifestyle, you really need to have a basic understanding of what's going on so that you can make the right changes. You see, when you can understand what's going on, the things that you need to do to make your heart become healthier become much more logical. They make sense because you understand what's going on. And because of this, you will have more motivation to actually stick with the changes and continue to make habits out of them, because you can understand why they're so important. So that's why that really is the first step to a healthier heart. So I go more into detail with this in my program, Heart Health Heroes, which I'll tell you more about at the end of this workshop. But I do want to give you a quick overview of how the heart works in this section so that you can start to get the brain ticking about how it does all work. And it's quite simple, you might already understand this, but you might get something out of it as well. So I like to think of the cardiovascular system as a plumbing system. We have the heart, which is the pump, the blood, which is the water, and the blood vessels, which are the pipes. So basically, the water needs to go all the way around the body. The blood needs to go all the way around the body to get the things to where the body needs it. So for example, when we breathe, we take in oxygen. When we eat, we get all sorts of nutrients and things that our body needs. Our blood picks those things up from the lungs or the stomach and carries them to where we need them. For example, if I move my arm like this, I need both oxygen and energy to move this arm. It is the blood that carries the oxygen from the lungs and the energy and different nutrients from our food to the arm. And when that movement is finished, we end up with waste products, which is like wasted energy and carbon dioxide. And so the blood takes those ones back and takes it back to either the urine or the lungs again to swap it for better nutrients that the body can make use of again. Now, this is important because the blood, yeah, it does all these things, but it can't do anything on its own because it's stagnant. It's like water sitting in a lake without moving. It needs to go somewhere to actually get around the body and make a difference. And that is where the heart comes in. The heart is the pump that pushes the blood around the body. This is really important because without the heart, it doesn't go anywhere. The blood can't do anything. And so the heart is the pump. So we've got the heart, the pump, the blood as the water, and then finally the blood vessels, which are the pipes. Now the pipes are very important as well because they need to be nice and clean and I don't know, they shouldn't be dirty and filled with other things, which is what can sometimes happen in our blood vessels as well as normal pipes. You might get something from the sink stuck inside the pipes. In our body, we can get something called atherosclerosis, which is where there's a plaque that starts to fill up on part of the blood vessel. It makes it more difficult for the blood to travel through. So these sort of things is what is really important to understand about. But if you have questions about this, feel free to let me know and I'll try and explain more about it. I also have some articles on MedicineHow.com that you can search through for those. So the second step to a healthier heart is application. What this really means is we need to take a look at how you as an individual fit into the equation. It's all well and good to know the theory, how the cardiovascular system works. But until we start to look at your body, your needs, and how your heart is coping, we can't really take the right action. This step is all about how we can take the knowledge from step one and apply it to your life. So, how do we do this? It's important to separate the general health advice that is good for everyone and stuff that you should be doing from those things that are going to suit your body the best. It's a little bit different from what you will need to someone else. Each person needs some particular things that are going to help them the most. A key part of this step is to work out how well your current lifestyle is treating your heart. There are certain factors that affect how likely your heart is to experience problems, and it's important to have a look at these factors when we look at how we can apply the actionable steps to a healthier heart to you. So these are things like your weight, if you smoke, how much exercise you get each day, what your diet looks like, if you do have a family history of heart disease, if you have other health conditions that may have an impact on the health of your heart, like diabetes. And there's lots of things like that that are important to think about. And so we need to take the theory and apply it to your individual factors to work out where to go to next. The third step to a healthier heart is all about the food, eating. It's about how you feed your body and what steps that you can take to improve the health of your heart and the rest of your body. Diet is the number one factor that determines the health of your heart. There are lots of important things to consider, but what you eat really should be the first thing to focus on when you're trying to improve your heart health. So there are a few things that you can do, and the exact changes that you should be making depends on what your current diet really does look like. There are some general advice that I can give you now, seeing as I don't know exactly your individual circumstances, but basically you should be looking to cook at home as much as possible. And when you do cook at home, it's important to try and stay away from the ready-made sauces and ready-made meals, these sort of things, because they do tend to have quite a lot of hidden chemicals, but also salt and just things that probably don't need to be there. Also because they have a long shelf life, and so they need to have preservatives and things in them. But if you can make those things in your own kitchen, it is a great way to bring back the kitchen to basics. And it can also be quite fun to learn how to do these things. I've in the last couple of years, I've really started getting passionate about cooking and the things that you can do in the kitchen. And the more I explore about the different things that you can do, the more pleasure I get out of making the food and doing things. One of the biggest problems in the Western diet is the lack of vegetables in general, but particularly those the dark green, so the broccoli, the kale, that salads in general, all of these green vegetables are particularly good for not just heart health, but also prevention of other conditions. But it's very important, these things, and fitting more of these foods into your diet each day doesn't have to be tricky. One thing I've done is I've started getting into the habit of making a light salad before not every meal, but at least one meal a day. And so I actually make a tiny salad in each person's plate that kind of we eat before we get onto the main meal. So I put some, either some spinach or some lettuce, and then some, I don't know, tomatoes, cucumber, just I cut up quickly some things inside the bowl, and then we eat that, and then we eat the main meal. And so that's a really easy way to get some more vegetables in before you even start the main meal. Step 4 is movement. So physical activity after diet is a very, very important thing for the health of your heart. Because when you think about when you do go for a run, when you exert yourself, maybe you're running late for the bus and you're running after it, after that activity, you can feel that your heart is working. It's going boom, 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 boom. And that working, when you're really stressed for the bus, it might be too much stress for your heart. But to get into the habit of putting a little bit of stress on your heart by exercising every day is really, really helpful. This actually helps to strengthen the heart muscle. So when your heart it realizes that you're making exercise every day, and so it starts to build up muscle so that you can do those activities more easily. And this is what we call fitness. So if you go for a 10-minute run in the morning, the first time you do that, it's going to be tricky. But after a week or 2 weeks, it starts to become more easy, and maybe you can go for a 12-minute run, a 14-minute run, slightly more each time. And this is because your heart becomes more effective at the way it pushes the blood around the body. The actual muscle of the heart gets bigger, and it becomes stronger to push the blood around the body in a more effective way. And keeping this heart strong is really important because it means it's more likely to be able to handle stressful situations when they do come along. So movement is really, really important. This, honestly, it doesn't have to be high intensity stuff. It's quite okay just to be spending half an hour of walking quite quickly, or swimming, or bike riding, whatever it is that you enjoy, just to move. And it is also another important thing here is to avoid sitting still for long periods of time. If you work in an office job or tend to spend long periods of time sitting on the couch during the day, it is a good idea to at least once every 45 minutes get up, walk around, whatever it is you can do, just to get that blood moving around your body, and so that it's not just sitting there and your heart is getting lazy. For example, I work as a writer, and I often break up the articles that I write I write one article, then I go down and I do 10, 15 push-ups or sit-ups. I mix it up, and then I do another half hour of work, and then I go and do another little bit of exercise, and that just breaks it up, and it also helps to keep my brain active as well. So not just the heart, but the brain. And so this is something that helps me, and maybe it could help you as well. Okay, so step 5 is living. This is all about how you spend your time during the day and what you can do to really make those activities the best for your heart. Obviously, there's some things that we can't really change, but there are some ways that you can make alterations to your lifestyle to have a positive impact on your heart. One of the most important things that people struggle with is stress. In our lifestyle of today, we really do have this mentality of busyness, going, and continually doing something. And if you're always going there, doing something, there is stress that builds up on your body, and our bodies need time to just relax and process the things that we do each day. And so the way to reduce stress and really improve your lifestyle for your heart depends on what it currently looks like. I understand that some people have stressful jobs or family situations that do put stress on, and it's difficult to sometimes address those. But there are some things that you can do. Often it's if there is a particularly stressful situation, it can be useful to actually withdraw from that situation temporarily, whether it be like 5, 10, 20 minutes to go outside and to calm down, because that, when you can feel your blood boiling, it's not a good thing for your heart and your entire body. And so it really should be taking the time to go and process why you're feeling like that, and just allowing your body the time to relax and deal with the situation at hand in a more logical manner. It can also be useful to really focus on mindset in the morning. When you get up, spend some time on your own to go through in your mind what are the most important things for you. What do you want to accomplish today? What do you want to focus on today to for your health, for example? And so you might just really break it down, instead of if you jump out of bed and go straight into the busyness of the day, it can become a little bit confusing for your body to understand what's important. So just taking the time to relax, and whether this be writing a journal, spending time sitting by yourself, or it could even be a conversation with someone if you're a person who processes things well by talking. Whatever it is for you, really spending that time to relax and live in a way that causes less stress on your body is important. So step 6 is habits. We can think this is great, we can understand why we need to make changes, we can do something really well one day, but it's not going to make any difference until you really start to turn that into a daily occurrence or a common occurrence. You need to make a habit out of it. These changes are to do with your diet, your lifestyle, your physical activity. They're really important, but you need to find a way to fit them into your lifestyle that really forms an integral part of what you do, so that you don't even think about it. Now, these habits are different for everybody, and the way that you form them, perhaps you already have a good idea of what works well from your body and what you usually struggle with. As I mentioned earlier, understanding why you need to make the changes in your body for your heart is a really important step for forming good habits, because this helps you to consolidate the reason of why you're doing it and turn it into a regular thing. The other important thing is to add things to are already existing in your in your lifestyle, things that you already do. So going back to the last step where we're talking about spending time in the morning for you to relax and do that. For example, perhaps you already in the morning, you get up and you have breakfast and drink a cup of tea, which is a nice way to to spend some time by yourself in the morning anyway. But perhaps you could add an activity to that already done activity. So maybe you'll get your journal out and sit it next to the cup of tea, and you might just write down your thoughts or what you're grateful for or something like that in the morning while you're drinking your cup of tea, or directly after your cup of tea if you prefer. But the point is to incorporate it into something that you're already doing, so that that habit becomes much more easy to form, rather than starting something completely new that you have to find the time for. And time is a big struggle that a lot of people face. So it would be good to focus on that from the beginning. The final step to a healthier heart is monitoring. Now, what I mean by this is keeping an eye on the important factors that help to determine how well your heart health is coming along. So there are lots of important things that is good to monitor throughout throughout your entire life to see how well your heart is coping. These are things like blood pressure. It's good to get regular blood tests to see how the changes in your blood cholesterol and other things like that are coming along. I would like to make it clear that it is important for you to do this regularly, because when you go to the doctor, they have a set range of healthy range is this one, a worrying range is this one, and a bad range is this one. But now this is good for most people, but more important is how your body is changing. So that's why it's like of utmost importance to have a baseline of what your body has been like right from now until forever. So that you can see if, in the last 2 months, the cholesterol seems to be going up quite a bit. I wonder why that is. Because some people might already have naturally low blood pressure, naturally high blood pressure, naturally high cholesterol, whatever. Everyone has slightly different levels of their things as the normal. And so rather than just going by these guidelines and that's all, it's important to have an idea of how your body is changing and what things are a bit worried for your body in particular. And so, the things that you should be checking are blood pressure, the blood test, so your doctor will help you with those things, the heart rate, your weight, these sort of things here. So finally, I'm really excited to open up the doors to the program that I've been working on for quite a few months now, which is called Heart Health Heroes. This program, there are 7 modules that we go through in the program, and we go through the health of your heart and how you can take action and actually start to make a difference and live more healthily for your heart. I've really tried to make it as easy to understand as possible and hopefully enjoyable for you to go through. And the part that I'm most excited about for this program is the community. So I've actually set up a private group on Facebook for all of the people who join the Heart Health program. And this means that everyone who joins will have this space where we can ask questions to each other, and I'll be in the group and we can answer questions or even experiences. Like someone might say, I've tried doing this sort of thing in the morning and it's making me feel like this. And then someone else will say, that's a great idea, or how did you do that? Or there's this conversation of support and helping each other out on our journey to a better heart health. And so I'm really excited about that, and I really hope that you will be able to join the Heart Health program. So all the theory and the steps that we can go through are in the program. But if you're interested, click on the link below. There's a big button below this video, and you can read about it, see what's going on, and if you're interested but you're not quite sure if it's the right thing for you, feel free to send me an email at yolanda@medicinehow.com, and I will reply and respond and try and let you know if it is the right thing for you, whether or not it is. So it's we'll go through that and what's included and that sort of thing. So I really hope that you've got a lot out of the workshop today, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I've enjoyed it. It went quite okay for my first time, and yeah, please let me know what you thought, and if there's anything I could improve, let me know as well. All of those sort of things. Just send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching the whole way through the workshop. Thanks.